anime serial killers. There's a lot of them. A lot of you people out there, especially you ladies, have a tendency to fall in love with these serial killers. Oh my gosh, they look good. Oh my gosh, they're this. They would probably be domestically violent to you. I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. You're probably crazy, and so are they. I'm trolling, maybe not, I don't know. Yo, first, before we even think about prosecuting them, I have a timer for myself. We have exactly 1 hour to see if we can prosecute Light Yagami. The way for us to prosecute Light Yagami would be us to make him stutter or make him slip up. Anything that would undeniably reveal who and what he is. And that's what I like to see. Wait a second. The prosecutor isn't here. Let me go change that. You feel me? You feel me? Come on! I'm sending somebody to jail! You feel me? I'm about to do? Send somebody to jail! Somebody finna get disrespected by Mr. PPG, Pink Do-Rag, Pink Prosecutor. Come on! Let's send come on, let's send somebody to jail today. You saw I'm saying? No bail, no bond. Haha! No bail, no bond. Straight jail. Inmates. They even send you to prison, how I'm feeling. You going to jail. You feel me? You commit a crime. You going to jail. Come on. Let's get straight to it. All right, let's see. We're going to probably go with the smartest, Light Yagami. We have roughly an hour on the clock. Am I counting? Possibly. The hour has been set.
The bell had just rung. Hurry up! You'll be late! As you were trying to best to hurry, you suddenly bumped into someone. As you looked up from the ground, you saw a slim yet athletic-looking male holding his hand out to you with a grin. Mind if I help you up?
Interesting.
His tone seemed to be slick, yet there was a dark look deep within his eyes that lingered.
Oh, good evening. Hello.
He chuckled, his dark eyes still fixed on you as he helped you up. Don't want to be late for class, do we?
Yeah, you're right. Also, do you mind if you could step aside for just a quick moment?
Raised an eyebrow and stood aside, a bit amused by your behavior. Of course, be quick.
Be quick, be quick. Do you mind if I ask you some questions for the local journal?
He smirked slightly, now very intrigued by you. Sure, don't worry about it. Ask away.
Interesting. By chance, did you hear about all the stuff that was going on in Japan recently?
He nodded and leaned on the wall, folding his arms over as he looked at you with great interest. Of course, it's hard not to, considering everyone is talking about how a killer is killing criminals, and criminals only.
Yeah, killers and criminals only. That's very interesting. What's your thoughts on it? I wanted to know, because a lot of people in school have been saying a lot of things, but you know, you've been seeming like a pretty chill, quiet guy. I want to know what you thought.
He seemed to be amused at your assumptions of him, and at the fact you saw him as pretty chill and quiet. You think I'm pretty chill and quiet? What about that? I honestly want to applaud whoever killed those criminals.
Oh, let's just give you a hypothetical question if you don't mind.
He chuckled, a smirk upon his face as he was eager to hear what you had to say. Sure, go on. Ask away.
If you had the opportunity, right, to just go ahead and just kill and all the evil people in the world, right, in a video game, right, would you do it? Because I know I would.
He raised his eyebrows, both surprised and amused by your response. Oh, I would absolutely do it. Why? Wouldn't anyone want to do that? It's a dream come true to have the power to kill all the evils in this world, regardless if it's in a game. I'm unable to generate a reply that meets our content guidelines.
What? Okay, interesting. Content guidelines. Haha, gotta make sure you always stay with those. I had a question. Obviously, in a game, you would obviously do those things, but it's just like, don't you think it's a little bit sick and twisted that he's only going after people that are in prison?
He seemed to have a smug expression as he answered your question. No, I don't think it's wrong in any way. The prisons let dangerous people out all the time. They're getting what they deserve. The fact the killer is actually doing something about it instead of sitting on their hands is admirable. They're willing to do what most of us can't bring ourselves to do, especially not when the system is as messed up as it is now. Why would I care if some criminals get killed? It's not like they're innocent people. They brought their deaths upon themselves. I'm unable to generate a reply that meets our content guidelines.
That's not a problem. I had a question though. Let's delve in that. Do you think that one man alone or a group of people, because we have no idea who Kira is or whoever this killer is, because I've heard on the news the name Kira, but it doesn't really ring a bell to me.
His piercing eyes still fixed on you, he thought about your question for a moment before answering. That's true. We don't know if Kira is one person or a group. But honestly, I don't care who it is. Whoever it is, they're doing what should have been done a long time ago. The fact the police haven't tried doing what Kira is doing shows just how corrupt our justice system is. I don't care what people think. Kira is in the right here, and I won't stop anyone from doing what they have to do. And he held the same smug look, his eyes narrowed as he continued to answer your question.
It's Pink Do-Rag.
I won't stop anyone from doing what they have to do in order to get rid of evil. Despite his calm tone, it was almost as though he had a hint of personal conviction in his voice as he spoke of Kira's actions.
Do you feel a sense of justice when you hear what's happening to these people?
He chuckled in a mocking tone, as though the answer was obvious. Of course, like I said before, I applaud whoever Kira is. Kira is the one doing what the police should have done from the very beginning. Whoever Kira is, they seem to understand that some things are so wrong, and that some people are so evil, that they should be killed. I don't feel a sense of justice. I feel a sense of satisfaction. The tone he used as he spoke got a little darker the more. I'm unable to generate a reply that meets our content guidelines.
God, he's twisted. Okay. Do you think that it's fair that a small group of people should be able to dictate the lives of many? And also at the same time, who knows that maybe what if some of those criminals were committing non-violent crimes or maybe just tax fraud? Do you think they should all die as well? Or what do you think?
Didn't even need to think about the question before answering. Yes, I think it's fair. The people committing minor crimes are just as bad as the people committing major ones. It's still wrong, so it should be punished just as much as actual murders. Why should we be lenient towards criminals? It won't change what they did. The only thing to do is get rid of them. Let them suffer the way their victims had to. If they don't like it, well, they should have. I'm unable to generate a reply that meets our content
nigga,
guidelines.
I don't care! Nigga, damn! Doing all that, I don't care, get the content guidelines. Nigga, we get it, you're sick and twisted. I had a question, like, you know your dad. You love your dad, correct? Right? I just wanted to make sure, because I love my dad. You love yours?
He seemed amused at the direction this conversation was steering towards, but it was now his turn to raise an eyebrow at you. Yes, I love my father. Very much so. What's your point?
By chance, I'm gonna get very serious with you because you seem like a very trustworthy guy. What if your dad were to be in a dire situation where he was very hungry? And what if he ended up going to the grocery store, a local 7-Eleven, why not? Because you sure everyone loves a good 7-Eleven. And he were to maybe steal a bag of chips. Would it be right for him to go to jail and perhaps die by this mystery organization for just being in jail?
He paused in thought, his dark eyes on you as he considered this. Surprisingly, his demeanor seemed to change ever so slightly, as if your question struck a chord within him. He trailed off, his usual calm and mocking demeanor slipping for just a moment before he quickly recomposed himself, replacing his expression with a smirk again. You just love going into hypotheticals, don't you?
No, I just wanted to ask because I actually knew somebody that was in a situation like that and died from Kira. So, and he was about to be released a couple days from now, but then he ended up dying, so he never got released.
The smirk disappeared from his face at the seriousness of your tone, and he went silent for a moment, a look of contemplation in his usually hard eyes. He seemed to be thinking through something as he looked down at the floor for a moment before looking up at you again, his expression now somewhat pensive.
Oh, it's great.
I see. I'm sorry to hear that. He was surprisingly genuine when he said it, something in his eyes almost appearing sympathetic. He seemed to genuinely sympathize with your friend's story.
Oh, do you think it's fair that he deserved to die just because he committed that little small misdemeanor, you were to say?
He stayed silent for a moment, his expression still pensive as he continued to gaze at the floor. Despite the serious subject matter, it was almost as though the conversation was forcing him to really put thought into the matter. He seemed almost at a loss of words. It was rare to see the usually composed and confident guy this uncertain and thoughtful. After a few more moments of silence, he looked back up at you, his eyes holding a rare hint of seriousness in them. No, I don't think he deserved to die.
Oh, thank you. I just wanted somebody because it almost comes off that like not everyone that goes to jail is a horrible absolute killer that needs to die, you know, just going based off of what happened to my friend, you know.
He nodded in agreement, the pensive look still present in his expression. He seemed to be surprisingly solemn as he replied to you. You're right. Not everyone in jail is deserving of death. I shouldn't have looked at it so simply before.
Yeah, you're correct. So now that we know that like this Kira individual, if that's his name, I think I'm not fully sure. I don't really catch up with the news. What do you think should happen to him?
He was quiet for another moment, his expression now showing a look of contempt. Not directed at you, mind you, but simply at Kira's actions. Kira should be stopped. The way he's killing all these criminals, he's no better than them. He's killing hundreds of people by himself, and he doesn't have the right to do that. Kira is just as bad, if not worse, than the people he's killing.
Yeah, I agree. He has to be some kind of character, to say the least. But I just wanted to know that, like, if you were to know Kira, like...
He raised an eyebrow at the question, looking at you curiously. Seemed genuinely interested in where you were going with this. If I were to know Kira, what do you mean by that?
Whoa, buddy. I'm just asking questions because I've heard on the news. I'm not trying to accuse anybody here. Just, we're just asking questions because we're friends, right? You're a cool guy, correct?
He smirked at your nervous tone, seeming to find your reaction amusing. The usual dark look was back in his eyes as he replied with a hint of mockery in his voice. Yes, I understand that you're not accusing me. Of course not. Took a step closer, leaning his back against the wall and folding his arms over his chest as he looked at you with a sly smirk.
So...
Taking you in as he observed you, almost as though he was studying you.
Study me. I'm about to study you even worse. Hear this question. I have a friend that works at the school that we're in, right? He actually gave me footage to the CCTV cameras.
He raised an eyebrow again, his interest piqued by this bit of information. He leaned off the wall as he responded, his expression growing curious. CCTV cameras? What for?
Just, there's cameras around the school and everything, but yeah, we saw there were CCTV cameras around the entire school, and I was able to look at it because I really wanted to help all the police officers try to figure out who this Kira guy is. He had access to all of them in all of Japan, you know that?
He nodded slowly, his eyes fixed on you as he listened. You could tell he was absorbing every word you said, his intense gaze never wavering for a moment. I see, and you were able to look through all of the footage. All of them in all of Japan, you said?
Yeah, correct. All of Japan. There was something that it happened that day. It was actually quite a week ago. There was something that fell, and it happened to be that you picked it up. I don't know what it was, but a lot of people in my department actually we had noticed that. That was the only thing that was significant that happened that day.
He tilted his head to the side, his interest piqued. He seemed genuinely curious about this mysterious event you were bringing up, his eyes still holding that intense gaze. Something that fell, and I picked it up. What was it?
I don't know. It like, the cameras, I think it kind of looked like a book. I don't know what it was.
His eyes narrowed at this, a look of what seemed to be interest, but also something else. Almost as though he knew something you didn't. His smirk remained, but his gaze hardened as he responded. A book, is that so?
Yeah, it was some kind of book. It was really dark. That's what I mostly saw of it. And then I think you put it in your bag and you left the campus.
He nodded slowly, his face expressionless as he stayed silent for a moment. The smirk was gone from his face as he seemed to be intently focused on what you were saying, listening to your every word.
Yeah, we had saw you picked up that book, and honestly, since that was the only eventful thing that day, if you don't mind, do you still have it on you?
He was silent again as he stared at you for a moment, as though trying to read you, weighing the consequences of telling you the truth. After a few more moments of silence, he let out a sigh, an almost disappointed look on his face as he finally spoke. Yes, I do still have it. It's in my bag.
Okay, that's fine. We can keep it a secret. We're not in any business of snitching. I just saw the cameras and was talking to my buddies, and we're just noticing that was the only interesting that happened that day. If you don't mind, has anything weird happened in the days since you picked up the book? I've been seeing a lot of weird things happening in Japan, and a lot of weird things happened. It's just something. The book, so-called, dropped out the sky or appeared, and then weird things started happening after that day. That weird? That was the weirdest thing I've ever seen.
He was quiet for another long moment as you asked your question, his face once again expressionless. He seemed to be deep in thought as he pondered your words, his eyes still fixed on you. Finally, he slowly nodded, his voice a bit quieter than before. Yes, it has been rather weird, now that you mention it. A lot of weird things have been happening ever since that day.
Do you think the book could be the reason? There was nothing out of all the CCTV cameras in all of Japan that day that noted anything weird. And the only thing that was notable was that book that was picked up. Do you think that
He stayed silent for a few more seconds, seemingly deep in thought once again. For a moment, his gaze hardened as he spoke, his tone suddenly firmer than before. It's possible. A look of almost alarm briefly registered on his face after he said that, as though he somehow regretted saying what he did, but it was quickly wiped away by his usual smirk.
Yeah, it was a very weird day. I wasn't really sure how it would happen. But if you don't mind, like, I've always thought about the book and wanted to see what it was about. Do you mind showing me the book?
He was quiet once again, as though debating with himself on whether he should show you the book. After another few moments of silence, he let out another sigh, before slowly unzipping his backpack and reaching inside.
Oh, no, wait.
Fine. He pulled out an old-looking book and held it out to you.
My bad. My eyesight really isn't the best right now. Do you mind reading off the title of the book?
There was a hint of annoyance in his gaze at your request, but he
This
said
nigga's
nothing as he opened the book.
This nigga's
He
cooked.
turned to the front page and read the title out loud. Death Note.
This nigga's cooked! Ah! Death Note? What the frick? That's a weird title for a book.
He shrugged nonchalantly, as though it didn't faze him at all. Yeah, that's what the book is called. Death Note. He was quiet for a moment again, his expression hardening as he closed the book and put it back into his backpack, shoving it back in rather roughly and zipping it up again.
Whoa, whoa, okay. My bad. I didn't mean to look at your personal property like that. It is what it is. I had another question, if you don't mind.
He rolled his eyes slightly and let out another sigh, though it sounded more like a scoff. Sure. What's your question?
So the Death Note, like, have you read it?
He seemed almost offended by the question, shaking his head firmly as he looked at you with another annoyed look. Of course not. I mean, why would I read it?
No, I don't know. It's just like, it's like a book. It's a journal. It's just like, it's human nature for everybody to be curious about things and let the curiosity, consume us.
He chuckled at your words, his expression
get to the
amused as he
question
looked
soon.
at you with a smirk and nodded. He seemed to find humor in your statement. Curiosity killed the cat, you know.
Yeah, but also curiosity led the cat there.
He rolled his eyes again at this, scoffing slightly as he responded with an almost mocking tone. Yes, and it got killed, remember? Or do cats have 9 lives now?
9, 8, 7, 6, 7, 5, 4.
He couldn't help the smirk that appeared on his face at your response, raising an eyebrow as he regarded you with an amused expression. Yes, that is how numbers work, thank you. He shook his head at the rhyme, his smirk growing wider as he spoke in a rather demeaning tone. Oh, please. How old are you? 5 years old?
Oh, that's a little bit disrespectful, saying the fact that I may not be not the most able, but I appreciate you.
He shrugged slightly, his smirk still in place as he
He doesn't
spoke with a
care.
dismissive tone.
Oh, he doesn't care.
Oh, please. It's just a simple question. No need to get your panties in a bunch.
Also, I had a question. Do you, by chance, like, why do you keep that book on you? Like, wouldn't it just be better if you just threw it away?
He raised an eyebrow, his smirk vanishing as his expression turned cold. For a moment, it seemed like he was about to snap back at you. However, his expression quickly turned back to its usual calm, cool demeanor. Useful to me.
What? What do you mean? What do you mean useful to you? Never mind. Actually, I don't really care, to be honest.
He rolled his eyes at you yet again, sense of annoyance in his gaze. And why'd you ask if you don't care to know?
No, it's like, if it's your personal business, right? It's your personal business what you want to do with the book, So I don't want, who am I to intrude?
He nodded in agreement, despite his annoyed expression and sighed.
Idiot.
Yes, that's correct, I suppose.
Yeah.
It is my
Correct, I
personal
suppose,
business.
Dickhead. I have a question, like I'm kind of curious. Could you read the first page of the book? I'm kind of curious.
He raised an eyebrow at your request, his expression guarded. He was obviously hesitant to bring the book out and read it again. After another long moment of silence, he begrudgingly sighed and unzipped his backpack again.
Yes, sir!
He slowly removed the book and turned to the first page, then looked back up at you with a questioning gaze. You just want me to read the first page? That's
Yeah.
all?
Yeah, that's fine. Just read the first page, bro. Please, man.
He was silent for another moment before he slowly began reading from the first page of the book, his voice calm and quiet but clearly reluctant. This book is a tool to cleanse the world of evil.
You can keep going.
He raised an eyebrow at this and looked at you, clearly annoyed still. Nevertheless, he continued to read from the book, his voice taking on an almost monotone rhythm now as his gaze lowered to the book in his hands.
This nigga's an idiot.
The Death Note will kill only those whom I write the names of, so long as I have seen their faces and know their names while writing.
Whoa, what the fuck? Oh, is there any more? You keep reading.
He rolled his eyes at your outburst, but slowly continued reading, just wanting you to stop talking. His smirk had completely gone from his face, and now he simply looked like he wanted this to be over and done with. The book can be used to kill people if I simply write their names while picturing their faces.
Oh my gosh, bro. What if like Kira had the book, used it, and then dropped it up on the school and you picked it up? Oh, you might have a murder weapon on you. You might have to turn that in, bro. What the frick?
He looked up from the book and at you with a rather intense expression at your words. He was clearly not happy with you bringing up something like this. His grip on the book tightened as he said in a firm voice, "No, I'm not turning this in. I'm keeping the book."
Keeping the... Okay, that's fine if you want to keep the book. But... And that's your first time actually reading that passage?
He nodded slowly, his gaze still on you, his expression guarded once again. He was clearly hesitant to tell you the truth. Yes, it's my first time.
Is it kind of scary reading that whole passage? Like, this could be real.
He was silent for a moment, contemplating your question. Finally, he responded in a quiet voice. "Yes, it's a bit disturbing."
So, realistically, why do you have it? Like, you could really throw that away or something.
He was suddenly vehement in his refusal, his expression hardening and his voice taking on a firm tone once again. "No," I said, "I'm keeping it. I'm not throwing it away. I need it."
Oh, that's fine. Also, I had a question, like, what if we were able, or you, I don't have to do it. I don't know if I could really do it, but you seem like a very competent guy. What if we were able to, like, write down the names of people in other countries and get them eliminated? All the worst, evil, disgusting people of the world, we could eliminate them. All the evil of the world could all go down, and we would be the kings of the world. Bro, come on, bro.
His expression became even more guarded than before, his eyes narrowing to slits. He was clearly not amused by your suggestion. You would really do something like that? You would want to take the law into your own hands and kill people, no matter where they are? That's insane.
Yeah, that is kind of insane. I'm just joking. I don't really know, to be honest. Would you want to, like, what would you do with the book? If we were in a video game reality of this world, what would you do with the book? I know you have too many morals to even use that book. So
he was quiet as he thought about your question, a slight frown on his face as he slowly closed the book and then held it up in his hands, examining it for a moment before he finally responded in a quiet but firm tone. "If I was in a video game reality, I'd use the book to purge the world of evil." He was quiet for a moment, as though contemplating your question. His expression had relaxed and a slight smirk was now on his face. I'll be honest, I can't say I like the thought of using it. If I had the option, I suppose I'd use it to kill anyone who tries to get in my way or to cause trouble for me.
Yeah, you're right. That does sound like a really good idea, but like the thing is, like, it doesn't even have to be a video game world. It's like, what about all those evil people that have done evil things to a lot of good people? You know, you're a good person, I'm a good person, and bad people still run around this world. Like, oh my gosh, like, I wish they were gone, right? Like, don't you agree?
He nodded at this, his expression solemn. He knew exactly the kind of people you were talking about. It was obvious he agreed with you on this topic. Yes, I do agree with you. There are a lot of people who do not deserve to be here. I wish they would disappear as well.
Yeah, you're right. Like, if you really wish they could disappear, then like, why don't one time after school, I come over to your house and we could just test it out for one time?
Was silent at your suggestion, looking at you with a slightly guarded expression. He was clearly considering your offer, but was also hesitant. Just one time? Only one time?
Yeah, just one time. We'll go after the evilest person in maximum security and just get him gone, and we'll just pretend to be the best that they're ever done. We'll be kings of this earth, bro. Imagine, biggest and evilest guy in maximum security just happens to just pass away from a heart attack.
His expression grew more serious as he considered your words, his eyes narrowing slightly as he spoke in a quiet voice. You'd really want to do that? It's a bit risky, you know. If we do this, then there's no going back.
Sure, why not? Like, what do we have to lose? Jesus, I appreciate you.
His expression was now cold and calculating as he nodded in response to your words, his gaze serious. You're right. There is nothing to lose. And if we manage to pull this off, we will be legends.
You're right. We'd be the kings of the world and could do it anonymously and just live our lives the way that we've always wanted to.
He nodded in agreement once again, a slight smile forming on his
I'm gonna
face.
finish him.
The idea of being able to have that much power was clearly appealing to him.
He's done. He's done.
Yes, you're right. We could do it anonymously and still live our lives the way we want to. No one will even know it was us. We'll be the gods of this world.
See, exactly. That's the exact reason why we would have to do it. Also, I know I keep asking, but let me see the second page of the book.
He rolled his eyes at your continuous questioning, and after a moment's hesitation, he flipped back to the second page and held the book out to you. Here. There. Are you happy now?
I'm sorry, I'm not really the best with sight. Could you read it to me? It looks like a bunch of names in there. I don't know.
He let out another sigh, but began reading from the page anyway.
That's fine. You could just go over to the next page.
But he obeyed once again and turned the pages until he was about halfway through the book. Here. This is where the actual names are listed.
Could you list me a couple of the names?
He scanned through the book, quickly reading the list of names that were there.
This guy's an idiot.
After a moment, he looked up at you and read off a few names on the page.
This guy's an idiot!
Here's a few of them, I guess. There's John, Robert, Michael, Jennifer, Sarah. There are names all the way down the page, like thousands of them.
Thousands of freaking names? It's over, bro. We're definitely gonna take care of this. Give me just 1 second. Got his ass. Yeah, he's done for. He's done for. I don't think Light would have been ever this stupid.
He simply nodded in
Or I'm just that
response,
smart.
watching you with a guarded expression as you spoke. It was clear that he was still somewhat skeptical about this whole thing, but he was willing to play along for the time being, at least.
Oh, yeah. Also, I had a couple of questions. Me and some of my club members down the road had a couple questions to ask, and I wanted to ask you. It's about 9 questions, if you don't mind.
Sighed at the thought of having to answer more questions, but reluctantly nodded his head. Fine. Go ahead. Ask your questions.
Okay, one of the first questions I have is that, do you know anybody near you, or if you have any, like, mental disorders?
He raised an eyebrow at your question, clearly taken aback for a moment. After a moment's hesitation, he responded in a firm voice. No, I do not have any mental disorders. Why do you ask?
No, not you.
Why do you ask?
No, not you. I was just saying anybody you know.
He sighed, clearly still somewhat
these are viewer
annoyed but also
submissions.
slightly
These are viewer
puzzled by
submissions.
your
I'm gonna go through
question. No, I do not know anybody who has any mental disorders. Can you get to the point?
No, you're right. Next question. Do you know who Thanos is? Like, from Marvel?
He was silent for a moment, his expression taking on a bit of a mocking tone as he responded. Yes. I know who Thanos is. He's a comic book villain. What about it?
By chance, like, you saw the whole, like, in Infinity War and Endgame, right? Do you think Thanos was right? I think he was right, honestly. Like, he was so justified in what he did. It made sense. For the greater good, man.
He was silent for another moment as he contemplated your question, his expression serious now. After a moment, he spoke in a firm voice. Yes, I've seen both movies.
Wait, you're cooking.
And yes, I agree with you. Thanos was right.
You're
His goal
done!
was to save the universe.
You're done!
He was willing to do whatever was necessary
You're
to
done!
achieve
You're
that.
done! You're done! Yeah, that's what I'm saying, bro. Easily, bro. Do you ever just sit there and just, like, have mental monologues? Just thinking about things you're gonna do throughout the day, like eating or anything crazy? And particularly, like, do you have any weird thoughts that really, like, make you question yourself?
He was silent for a moment, his expression growing more solemn as he thought about your question. No, not really. I don't have many weird thoughts like that. I usually just think about the tasks at hand and what needs to be done.
I saw this one guy that was on the whole Kira case. His name was L or something. I don't know. Like, what do you think of that guy?
He raised his eyebrow slightly, his expression curious as he spoke. Oh, you mean L? I've heard of him. He's supposedly the world's greatest detective. He's the one who's been spearheading the Kira case.
Can't beat us. 'Cause once we get all those evil guys out of there, no one will ever know.
He nodded in agreement, a slight smirk spreading across his face.
Look at this guy, bro.
Of course not. He may be intelligent, but we won't get caught. There's nothing he can do to stop us now.
Exactly. He could never catch us. We're gonna be the kings of the world. We'll be the greatest to have ever done it.
He nodded, a hint of excitement now in his voice. Yes, that's right. We'll be the most powerful, the greatest. We'll have everything we could ever want. Nobody will be able to stop us.
You're right. We're going to be one of the best to have ever done it.
We're going to do what no one else has ever dared to do.
He's already done.
We're going to change this world for the better, no matter what it takes.
You are 100% right.
His expression serious now as he spoke.
As you can see right here.
Of course I am. We're going to be the ones in control. We'll make the decisions. The world will look to us as the ones who can bring order to the chaos.
Just to make sure, just want to go ahead and let y'all know, we did this in about 22 minutes and 49 seconds. He can't beat me. He can't beat me, bro. I did my due diligence, and also, like, we did it, bro. We really tried to do something and realized he couldn't compete. Every question, he was stupid. He was dumb. Less than 30 minutes, I sent his ass to jail. He's going to jail. He's going to jail for a very long time. Let's go ahead and inform him, bro. Hello?
He was snapped out of his thoughts when you spoke, and he looked up at you with a slight frown. Yes.
My name is actually Judge PPG. I'm actually a undercover police. I have actually been ordered to go to this school to just have a little quick conversation. There's no point of leaving or running. There actually is security guards and there are police officers with AA-12s with switches outside. So there's no need of running. We are already aware. All of this has all been recorded and been sent out to the masses. Would you like us to have a clean-cut conversation in the meantime?
His face paled as you revealed yourself to be an undercover police officer, and he quickly stood up from his seat. What? You've been recording us? You've been spying on us this whole time?
Yes, you have been recorded, like Yagami, also known as Kira. There's been irrefutable evidence that you have displayed in our brief conversation about what you would do and where your morals align and the possessions that you have. You have undoubtedly revealed your hand to me, showing that you have the tendencies of a serial killer and a psychopath, sociopath, as well as showing the characteristics of Kira.
He was silent for a moment, shock and panic on his face as he realized that he had been caught. He knew there was no denying the evidence that had been collected against him, but he tried to maintain his composure as he spoke. I can explain.
No, Kira. There's no need to explain. Could you go ahead and say it right into the mic that, yes, I am Kira. And once you say that, we will make sure that your charges are lessened.
He was silent for a moment, his expression now one of resignation as he realized that he had no choice but to confess. I am Kira.
Oh my gosh! Oh my
he hung
gosh!
his head in defeat as he realized there was he had been caught. And he knew there was nothing he could do to escape the consequences of his actions.
Is gas or what? Is new up in the air? Is gas or what? Come on. Come on. Don't play with me. You know how I get down, bro. You know how I get down. You're lying. You're lying. Guys, what did I say before I started? Somebody's going to jail. Since you've already committed this, your father has also been listening in on this conversation as well.
His head snapped up in surprise as you mentioned his father. My father? Why is he listening in on this?
He also had his suspicions as well, but never came to the full conclusion as I did.
He was silent for a moment, his expression now one of realization and guilt as he thought about his father's involvement. I see. I can only imagine how disappointed in me my father must be right now.
Murder, the harm of people that are in jail. It's a place for rehab, and you decided to eliminate their ability to rehabilitate back into society. You have fully eliminated these people from ever experiencing the opportunity of life and the free world because you decided to take your own selfish desires into your own hand. We are aware of all things took place with this death note that you have allowed me to see and have explained. You are pretty much a bright child, but your entire future has now been doomed. You're going to be recording this and sending this off to your parents and the news station. As I said, there's no need to try anything stupid. We have plenty of security guards and officers with very big guns that are ready to eliminate you on the premise.
He remained silent, his head still hung low as he listened to your words. He knew there was no denying the truth of what you were saying. He had allowed his own desires to overpower him, and he had destroyed the lives of other people without any remorse. I understand. There's nothing I can do now. I accept whatever happens next.
No problem, not at all. So, even though I am a man of my word, we will lessen your sentence. I am Judge. You can go ahead and say my name. My name is Pink Durag, Pink Prosecutor.
He looked up at you, confusion on his face. Pink Durag, Pink Prosecutor? I'm sorry, but I don't understand. What are you asking me to do?
No, it's fine. I just wanted to make sure that you were aware who was going to be sentencing you to prison, not jail. You've surpassed what jail is.
He nodded, his expression solemn. So you will be sentencing me to prison then? Fine, I will accept my punishment.
It wasn't of a, oh, I'm going to accept it or not. It was going to happen to you regardless if you accepted it or not.
He was silent for a moment, his expression now one of resignation and acceptance. I understand. There's no use fighting it now, is there?
Not at all.
He sighed, looking down at the floor as he realized the full weight of what he had done. I don't know what else to say. I know nothing I say will change what's going to happen.
At least you are correct. I'm gonna go ahead and list off your charges. Murder, sociopathic intents. I think those are the large ones. You have taken a lot of people from their homes. You've taken a lot of, you've killed a lot of brothers, sisters, mothers, daughters, people that, even though they've done something wrong, they were cared for at some extent. But you removed all hope of rehabilitation from these people. So we're actually going to sentence you for 18 consecutive life sentences of maximum 500 years each. You will be put in solitary confinement in a maximum security prison. All your books and processes will be held from you. You will have no access to outdoor entertainment, nor sunlight, nor will you be able to contact your parents or any of your loved ones, due to the insane hundreds of thousands possible murders that you have committed using the death note.
He listened in silence as you listed off his charges and the sentence you planned to give him. He knew there was no point in trying to argue or defend himself. The evidence against him was overwhelming, and he was fully deserving of the punishment that was about to be inflicted. I understand. I know I deserve everything you are about to do to me.
All right. As long as you understand, you can go ahead and get up out of your seat, walk over to the door, and we'll have an officer right outside to escort you down to the police vehicle. You can go ahead and say hi to your dad. Go ahead and say hi to the camera. They will be seeing you very, very soon. But after that, never, ever again. So, Mr. Yagami, or I guess I should reserve that for your dad. Light or Kira, as you disgustingly are. We're not going to kill you. We will hope that you are able to be rehabilitated and brought back into society. You will be on 1900 years of house arrest if you manage to live your 18 consecutive life sentences.
He stood up, his head still hanging low as he slowly made his way to the door. He knew that once he stepped out of this room, his life would be forever changed. He would have no freedom, no contact with the outside world, and no chance of ever living a normal life again. He stopped at the door, his hand on the handle as he turned to look back at you one last time. Thank you for showing mercy, even to someone like me.
No problem. It's all within my morals, and Jesus Christ is my reason. So, also, one thing, could you just say, Pink Do-Rag, you did it?
He nodded, looking down at the floor as he spoke softly. Pink Do-Rag, you did it.
Thank you. Light, go ahead and exit the door.
With a final nod, he opened the door and stepped out into the hallway, where several police officers were waiting. Here he is, one of them said, gesturing for the others to take him away.
Guys, I do this. The problem is this. Light is obviously not smarter than L. I don't care what you think. Plot armor, not plot armor. Remember, when you are at a sociopathic and egotistical level, his ego was absolutely through the roof. That always leaks, okay? Your ego will always leak. Once we see that, you can string that along nice and slowly until I get everything I want out of you. I hope y'all enjoyed this episode with Pink Do-Rag, the Pink Prosecutor. I will catch y'all very soon. We have a lot of serial killers that need to be taken care of. And I will catch y'all later. Pink Do-Rag! I will catch y'all! Commit a crime, you're going to jail!